What is up, you people of the internet? It's the WordPool with me, Lucas, as the host for the first time ever, and Jackson.
I'm blind.
Yes, he's the blind one today.
You know,
Well,
can I say something?
yeah.
You're hosting, I'm just a guest today. But what I want to say is, it was always a 50-50. Like, we're co-hosts.
Yeah,
I just run the show.
but
you know what
now
I'm
I'm in the chair, I guess you could say, both figuratively and literally.
saying? You know what? I'm blind now, so since you have control over the computer, I don't know what you're looking up. You could be looking up porn. You could be looking up unsavory things.
Unsavory. Do you mean like what is that?
Well, I gotta be honest. I'm a Christian, so I only know the Word of God. That's not funny. I'm born again, and I know justice. Okay.
What is justice?
Well, first of all, I want to say hello to very special people out there. Mr. Mueller, how are you doing today? I hope you are doing well.
Man, I haven't seen him in a while.
You should come visit the school sometime. He is always there, always chipper, but sometimes he's not. There's also someone else there that is currently maybe listening to this, and I just want to say that anime is okay, I guess, you know?
Hard to disagree, but that's fine.
Listen, I think that people have vices
Vices.
to deal with life, you know what I'm saying? Some people do drugs, some people do hard drugs, and some people watch animated television, specifically made in the Japanese part of the geography location. You know what I'm saying?
That was a sentence, I think. Maybe.
So anyway, you're the host now, so lead us through the show.
Well, shoot, dude. If I knew I was going to be the host more than 2 minutes ago, I probably would have actually prepared stuff. But
That's what a host has to do. Sometimes you just gotta come up with stuff on the fly. None of these shows are ever scripted. Go ahead.
yeah, well, okay. So I guess the first image I see is this picture of you running. How was the track experience? Or cross country, I believe.
I
It's
can
not
only
track.
assume what I look like because I'm blind. And do you mind if I actually tell the story of how I got blind before we actually get into it?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, thank you. So, guys, here I'll just run it down for you, okay? When I was 11 years old, I was given the gift of sight. From ages 1 to 10, I was legally blind.
Uh-huh.
I could not see past my elbow, and I was actually given 18 months to live.
At 11, you said?
No, at 7.
7.
That was for something else.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
thankfully, we got over that. I lived, as far as I know.
I mean, you seem pretty alive. Unless we're all dead. You ever think about that one?
And I was blind till age 10. Now, at age 10, the miracle of science allowed for my eyesight to return, although only for a brief period of time. I was told that at age 18, roughly, my eyesight would shatter, much like glass.
Okay.
And what happened was, I was in class, you know? In high school, you know, God forbid it be college. We're not there yet. God willing. God let it be. Like the Beatles said.
I don't think they put God in front of that.
So, well, they should have. But I was in class, and I was writing a beautiful letter to very important people, you know?
Are we allowed to ask who, or is it
Well,
a private affair?
it's plural, and I need to get their permission before I continue that part of the story. Anyway, I was writing a letter to some people, very important people, excellent people, the best people, and
You sound like our ex-president.
God willing, and what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm blind now. I was writing a paper, and all of a sudden, I hear a crack, much like on the 4th of July. Now, if you will, on the 4th of July, as everyone knows, you get these little things. They're kind of like pop rocks for your hands that you throw on the ground, and they make a popping sound. Are you familiar?
Yeah, I've used those before.
I hear that in my eye.
How does that feel?
And I go, excuse me. I raise my hand. Excuse me. I don't remember what class I was in. I was going blind at the time. I raised my hand. Excuse me. Can I please go to the bathroom? I seem to be going blind. And the teacher, of course, said, yes, as long as you finish your assignment. Pretty rough, I'd say. I was going blind at the time. But I do agree to finish my assignment. I finished it flying colors, I think. I was blind. And I rushed to the bathroom, and I discovered, to my appallment, that I'm blind. So now I see nothing. And I have to say that it is life-changing. It really makes you think about the past and the present and even the future as well. But anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Well,
ironically, we didn't get to talk about the VR headset.
That is actually the next topic I was going to talk about, because we never even got the chance, you know?
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about the VR headset, and I have to just do it off memory because I can no longer look at the screen. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, you're always gonna do it off of memory. I mean, we can't play it like in the middle of the thing.
I could technically wear it and like not play it, but at least look at it. But not anymore. Let's see. So lead me through it. What are we talking about?
So the VR headset, you bought it recently. I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe at this juncture.
Yeah.
And I came over, we played it a little bit. What were your initial thoughts on the system before buying it and then after buying it?
Well, I can tell you before I bought it that I had high hopes. And I had heard...
Were those hopes met?
Are you asking me?
There's nobody else here.
I don't know. I'm blind. Legally. And superficially. Now, I had heard high hopes, and I knew that people had enjoyment for it, my cousin being one of them. And so I thought, well, what the heck, you know? I got a computer, it may be able to run some games, let's get a headset, you know? Upon doing research in December, and by the way, I had been off and on again about the whole VR buying thing, because every time the price point would come up, I'd go, oh, well, the games aren't that great. It's not exactly, it's not exactly going to rival my PC, which has literally any game I'd ever want on it. Emulation, any console that's ever come before it, and new games that come with consoles, So I thought, well, how could that ever compete to a VR headset, right? And, so December rolls along, and, there's no great giant present. I mean, yes, we did talk about the AirPods Max before, but unfortunately, Apple declined my invitation to buy them. That's real.
Oh my goodness, really?
They said, you can't buy this product. And I said, why? And they haven't responded yet.
Dang, that sucks, dude.
But anyway, so Christmas...
They're not even going to, come in March like they were supposed to?
Well, they got bumped up to February, and now the bank called and said that the dealer, which in this case is Apple, had never confirmed the order, which means that, technically they're not ordered or whatever. The payment was never confirmed, right? So they never took the money, which means the order was never processed. And so they were like, well, we could put it in the order now, and we were like, okay. And they were like, it'll be here in 14 weeks. And we were like, well, there's only 52 weeks in a year, and I'd rather hang myself. So we decided not to go with that route.
Wow.
But anyway, so...
It's kind of unexpected of a professional company.
So, yeah, I don't know why they didn't take the order. I assume it's because they had, a huge volume of orders, and mine probably just got lost in the mix. But, yeah, so where we are in the Oculus story, it was about December, and there wasn't any big presents coming in, and usually I try and buy myself one gift, during the holidays. 'Cause it's fun to splurge on yourself, especially if you got the money. And I did. I saved up a good bit of chunk of change, over birthdays and whatnot. So, I was like, well, I could get a rower machine. You know a rower machine?
No, I don't.
Go ahead and look that up. A rower machine is a chair. Let me describe it for you before you search it up. How about that? And then you can see.
You said a rower machine?
Yeah, don't hit enter. I'll just describe it to you, all right? So, imagine you're sitting on a wooden balance beam on a chair that's at the midway of the balance beam, right?
Okay.
and you're sitting on this chair, and at the very top of the balance beam, or the very front of it, there is a water wheel or a wheel of some sort, right?
Okay.
And then you're sitting on this chair, and right in front of you there's a handle grip, right?
Uh-huh.
And you push off, and the chair is actually connected to the balance board, so it can swivel all the way back. So you could just push off, and it goes back. And since it's water or a heavy substance, you're pulling really hard, to move this rope or whatever back. And then you come back in and you do it again, and that's how you exercise, right?
Okay, now I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah.
Images. Oh, one of these things. Okay.
Yeah, I
You
probably
described it decently.
yeah.
So you didn't get one of these though.
Well, I haven't bought it yet. I don't know if I'm going to. I
How much
have.
are these anyway?
Well, the good ones, which are the ones with water, they're like 800, like a really good one. But I found some for like 160 or whatever.
I'm finding them a lot more than that. Maybe I'm just in the wrong spot. I see.
Well,
one.
they can go for like $3,000. I mean, rower machines are actually pretty expensive. But
why do they vary so much? Like, there's one that's like 141, and then one
Because-
that's like $3,000.
because rowing machines are like, they're almost like an art piece when you actually have them. They're like a more eclectic workout machine. So you can get them made out of like an oak beam with a nice chair, and then like the water. The water is a big deal though, like because you're making, like if you hooked up a generator, you could have like hydroelectricity.
It's so pretentious.
I mean, I like them, but I've used them in like hotels and stuff, and I actually like working out on them versus a lot of other stuff. But yeah, so I was gonna get a cheap one of those, maybe like a $300 one of those, or I could get a $300 Oculus. Now, I decided, what the hey, I've seen enough of these Oculus videos. I'm gonna buy one. So I go on the Oculus website,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking, I hope my computer can stack up to the challenge.
Yeah.
And then I see that just 2 months before December 2020, a new product had been released, right? This new product is called the Oculus Quest 2. And I'm thinking to myself, huh? What is what? I don't know what this means. I don't even speak English at this point. I'm baffled. And
Too many made up words, Oculus Quest 2, all made up. All
well,
fake.
Yeah. Oculus. And so, what was I saying? Okay, so the Oculus Quest 2 is on the website, right? And then I go, well, that looks cool. Let me look into it. It's the first ever headset to be better than all of its competition that is hooked up to a computer. And it is all no wires. Everything's in the headset. It's all run through computer parts that are inside the headset, right?
So is that what initially made you want to buy it? Is the fact that it's compact, or was it the fact that it was $300?
Well, that's another thing, and it's the cheapest one they've ever made. So I think it's a combination of that factor, the cheap for what you're getting, and the fact that it's a new device, never before seen, and everybody seems to be loving it. So I thought, well, I might as well get it. I'll be a tester of this new thing. So I bought it, and it came to Best Buy, and I had to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. And in that amount of time, I was researching like crazy, trying to figure out all the games or what I could actually do once I got the headset. I think Liam had already had his headset before.
Oh, I didn't even know he had one.
Yeah, he has one. I was texting him about it before I got mine. He plays like Darth Vader Immortal and what's the other one? Population 1, which is basically like VR Fortnite. But
Of course.
So anyway, after 3 weeks of waiting, I pull up to the Best Buy. What is it called? Like you pull up your car and they bring it to you.
Curbside pickup.
Yeah, I really liked it for getting big pre-order stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing with a curbside pickup. It's a lot more convenient than I thought it was gonna be.
I mean, I wouldn't choose to do it every time.
Well, yeah. I'm not like one of those people that would like die for it, but like it is kind of it's really nice when like something's in limited supply, or if you don't want to find it in the store but you know it's there.
Yeah. So I got it and I brought it back, and you came over the day of. I set it up, and I bought. This is where the story takes a turn. I bought a game that had just basically just come out. Like, it's a month old. It was called Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Now, if you know anything about Galaxy's Edge,
which I didn't at the time.
It is a Star Wars land at Disneyland.
A place that I've never been to.
Or Disney World, or, yeah, that's the only two places that place exists. Now, well, Hollywood Studios, but, you know, you get it. Now, Batu is the planet that it's on. Galaxy's Edge is the world. And, I mean, to be honest, like, even as I'm playing it now, I haven't finished it or whatever, but even as I play it, it doesn't really give me Galaxy's Edge vibes, because, like, it's a whole planet that you're trying to explore, but none of it gives you that kind of feeling. But I gotta be honest, the game is... It's more of a demo than anything. Well, I don't know. It's like a cross between a demo and a really good shooter. Like, it's a really good, I think, first casual VR game, but not for $30. Maybe if they sold it as like a quick demo, maybe $5 to $10.
Yeah, see, that's how I feel about a lot of the VR games that have released in recent time. Is that a lot of them, they have this gimmick of being a VR game, and they feel like that's enough for the game to be like a 2-hour experience. Like I feel like a lot of VR games are extremely short, and a lot of them have like 2 core mechanics that they have, and then the rest are just like not there.
Well, there are a bunch of games that are definitely better than this one, and Vader Immortal is a better game than this one. Vader Immortal was in like 3 or 4 parts. Each part was $10, but you ended up paying about the same anyway. And then, like in that game, you actually have force powers in each hand. You get a lightsaber. You fight Darth Vader. You interact with all these different characters. It's a much more cohesive Star Wars game than Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. But Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, I don't know what it is about the graphics of that game. Maybe because like nothing really looks realized or anything, but it kind of makes me motion sick when I play that game. I don't really know why. But yeah, Vader Immortal is supposed to be a lot better, and it's supposed to be a lot better of a physics game for Star Wars. And I get it. Tales from Galaxy's Edge actually has some cool stuff to it, though. For instance, you get these droids that you get.
Oh yeah, I did pick those up. I didn't really figure out how to use them though.
Well, you put them in your like little pocket that you can carry, and then you take the pocket out, and you click it, and then you get all your inventory, and then you can take one of the orbs, and there's like attack orbs and defense orbs, and eventually you get bomb orbs, which just float near your enemy and explode.
You know, maybe it's just like the weird like niche gamer in me, but I hate having to like go out of my way to open the menu. I'm so used to the menu being just a button that you press and you go from there.
No, I love it.
It's weird for me to be like I need to take an action in order to open the menu.
My favorite thing now is to be honest, I haven't sat down and played a physical game like right before I got the VR headset, or before December really. I was playing, Arkham and more Legacy of the Duelist, always Legacy of the Duelist.
Always, dude. I even played that game yesterday. Like
what's another?
It's such a weird like classic to go back to.
They're all on my desktop page. It's like Force Unleashed.
I can look at it.
Force Unleashed. There was the disc game, the the jockey game.
Fuser.
Fuser. Yeah. Something and something else.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. I just got No Man's Sky, and that game is actually really, really good, and you can play it in VR. And then the last one.
I see the Batman Fuser.
Yeah, Batman. That's what I meant. But so those games, and I had them at the front of my desktop because I was like going back and forth with them. But then the VR came out, and I got to be honest, even though the Star Wars game is not that great as a first game to choose, I would have much rather had Beat Saber first, which I did end up picking up, and it's a great game. Mm-hmm. It's a really fun exercise game, and you don't even realize you're exercising.
Yeah, see, the thing I love about Beat Saber is that, like, I definitely didn't understand the hype around it when I watched it, because watching it is not nearly as intensive as actually playing it. But what I like about Beat Saber is that it is a concept that it doesn't wear out. Like, what is fun about Beat Saber is the physical action of playing and not, like, the progression that you make, which is a really big plus when you have a small game size like most VR games are. And it uses the VR's controls to like the best of it. Like, it's the best because like like I know it's like VR is still early on in its cycle of like developing games, but like a lot of like the grabbing and the menuing is always just a little rough around the edges because it's just not that well developed yet. But I definitely, but more on the menuing. I really don't like the menuing in VR games. I wish there was a way that it was more streamlined and just a little bit smoother.
Yeah, Beat Saber, I you got to remember VR headsets have been around since 2012 is when the Oculus uh, demo first came out that people like PewDiePie got or whatever.
Yeah.
So they've had a bit of time.
They've been around for a while, but like my thought process is that video games have been around for like, gosh, like since the 80s. So like they've been around. So a lot of like small things in video games have been ironed out and worked on and improved, and VR games have just started. So they're moving a lot faster because a lot of the techniques of old video game design works here. But I feel like it also has a lot of stuff that it needs to work through in order to be a good console.
Well, VR just costs a lot to make. So you can have companies like Disney make games because they have the money, but when you make a VR game, it costs a lot more than making a regular game. So you have to make sure it's a good game, like for it to stand out. Which Beat Saber, it's a good game, but it's very simple and it's whatever you want it to be. That's why the custom maps were good back when you could get away with doing it. But even now, there's so much progression with expert and expert plus levels that like you can get away with a lot more stuff in Beat Saber and have more fun, do whatever you want. But and like 360 mode is just crazy. It's fun to try and do. But yeah, Beat Saber as a second game was a lot better of an experience, and I love working out in it, which brings me back to what I was about to say beforehand, which was despite the fact that Star Wars is not a great game, but Beat Saber is a really good game, I would still rather play both and be standing and be mobile and actually be like doing stuff. Like it actually feels good to play a game where you are physically in the game versus just sitting. Now, don't get me wrong, my favorite games of all time still exist on PC or whatever, but yeah, I have to give it to VR for the fact that if I were to just pick up the VR headset, especially with no wires, and be like, I'm just going to jump in, 30 minutes an hour, do whatever, like, yeah, totally. VR headset,
I mean, yeah, I agree
VR
to
games.
that aspect. Like, if you don't want to, like, sit down and just be like, yeah, I'm going to sit and be lazy, but, like, you want to do something, like, VR would be a great way to do that because you're up and you're moving. And
Well, and it's like, health-wise, when you play video games, if you sit for a while, like, it's different person to person, but normally you would get, like you would feel more tired afterwards. You'd kind of feel drained, even though you were just sitting for a while.
I mean, it's a strain on your eyes. Like it is its own mess.
VR, like you stand up the entire time, so you're having good circulation in your body. You're moving. You're physically like staying, just in action. So when you take the VR headset off, you either feel pumped, like if you play Beat Saber, you beat a level, you're sweating a little bit, you feel pumped to keep going with your day, or you don't necessarily feel like you could just go right into sleep and just forego the rest of your day. Like you keep the energy up,
Yeah.
So that's why I like VR headsets, and that's why I like playing games in VR, is that aspect. And I don't know what games I'm going to get next. I do want to get Vader Immortal, although I'd kind of rather get a different game than Star Wars to start out, so you have more variety. Maybe The Climb, that looks fun.
I mean, like, I'm looking at some gameplay right now, and it looks okay. Like, it's not super impressive in my mind right now.
I mean, there's a lot of games. There's a game, there's like a medieval game where you're a knight, and you get to have, like, medieval sword play with people and use all this different medieval tech and whatever.
I mean, that sounds a little interesting, but...
Yeah, and so there's a lot of options. There's a lot of games on Oculus Store, on Steam Store. There's a lot that you can do, which brings me to a third point about the VR headset being the computer part itself. Now, the Oculus Quest 2 is one of the best, or is the best VR headset because it also includes the link cable, which you have to buy, but it's not that big of a deal. And you hook it up to your PC, and you can instantly run the Oculus Rift Store on your Oculus Quest. Now, what this means is, as long as you don't get confused and buy games on the Oculus Rift that you can't run on the Oculus by itself or anything, as long as you don't do something stupid like that, then you can play a bunch of games through your computer that you couldn't play alone on your Oculus Quest, and using your computer's PC components, you can, have a good time that way. You can sit and play games, you can stand, whatever, But the problem I find is that a lot of my games that I actually have are a little too high tech for my PC that I run. For instance, I have Star Wars Squadrons, which that's a really fun game just to play on the PC. Although it does look amazing on VR. I had the opportunity to try it, but it was running at a low frame rate and it kept like bugging out just because it was way too much for both computers to process, the headset and the PC. So there is that roadblock, but that's a PC element. But if I had a stronger, graphics card or it's probably a memory thing. If I had stronger memory, then I could run, whatever through the PC and it would just be good, And being able to run Steam VR through the Oculus is really good because Steam has every game, and there's so many games that you don't have on the Oculus Store that Steam might have. So.
Yeah, I mean that's all true, but I don't know. I'm still in the camp of like it needs some work. It needs some things ironed out. It needs some optimization and some wrinkles ironed out.
I mean, It
has some good ideas.
There's some well-designed games that don't just look like VR PS2 games or whatever. You have Beat Saber is one of them. Trover Saves the Universe. All of the Rick and Morty stuff is pretty good. Maybe except the first Rick and Morty game. But you have Trover Saves the Universe. It was the Zoo game. Zoo Accounting Plus. Yeah, Accounting Plus. Let's see, what are some other like really good looking VR games? I know that they are. I'm blind, so I can't look. But they do exist. As you can get a lot out of VR. You just have to know where you look and go on like Reddit or whatever, because VR isn't exactly, until the Oculus Quest 2, it wasn't exactly a very general wide-based known thing. It was niche because everyone needed a good computer to use it. Now that you can just run it natively, everyone's going to get one eventually, and VR will definitely dominate in years to come. We're just at the beginning of it being a home product for everybody.
Yeah, although a part of that makes me a little sad just because it's like classic video games are like just the way I know how to play. So like it's weird to think in the future that there's gonna probably be significantly less.
Well, I'm sure that there will always be games in the style of sitting down and everything. But
but at the same time, think about it this way: like there's still arcade games, but like not nearly as much as there was.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the equivalent here, Like, at some point, like, VR games are going to be, like, the big thing. And it's, like, they're not even going to slap VR in front of it anymore. That's just going to be, like, the title,
Here, I will say this, though. I'm not... You can look up, like, Project Pokemon VR or whatever, and it exists.
I think I've seen that, yeah.
But, just to... Look, I'm not the biggest Nintendo fan as a company. Like, whatever, the games are alright. But, as a company, I'm not the biggest fan. But, you got to admit that it'd be cool to be able to wear a VR headset and then play Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? And like you are the trainer.
It will be cool, and it will be like it'll be the next big thing.
Especially when because I probably won't play Pokemon again. Like as new games come out, I probably won't care as much. Like I didn't buy the DLC. I don't know if I will or not for Sword and Shield. And that's the first time I've actively been like, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna buy Pokemon games. But who knows? I think, if I don't play Pokemon games again, then eventually when I have children who I will probably introduce video gaming to or show them something of it or they'll get interested, being able to wear the headset and then have them wear the headset and see it like on big screen, that'll be fun for everybody,
Yeah.
And they'll be able to step into their own world. And it's just like today, except you both get to, and if it's multiplayer and you get to wear a headset as well, then you'll have the experience of that. and being able to both be in a different world with your kid wherever you want. So it'll be interesting, and you can do that stuff now through stuff like there's Google Maps ish apps where you can like go all over the world and just be there, and it's kind of cool to look at and everything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, and like that's, I guess, a part of me is just like sad that like this thing that I enjoy a lot will probably one day be just like outdated. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'll probably still be happy to play VR games. It's just like, the end of an era kind of thing.
Bro, oh my god. My eyes are not adjusted to light. Oh
yeah,
my god.
because you've been blind.
I can see again.
Barely.
But, dude, this works. This works, dog. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta wear these for a little bit before my eyes readjust. So this is Vader Immortal, huh?
Yep, I've been looking at it for the past, 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Like I said, it looks
and by the way, all
okay.
VR games look worse when you're looking at them like this.
I'm aware of that, but, like, using the knowledge of playing the VR and, like, seeing this, I'm like, yeah, like, it looks okay.
I mean, there's something cool. Besides graphics, I mean, you look at Atari and how awful it looked, but everybody loved us for being able to play the game. For VR being the way it is now, like, sure, it will get better, but there is something just about playing games in VR that makes it worth it,
Yeah.
Even if they look awful now, first of all, they'll look better as time goes on. And also, like, who cares how they really look if, like, when you're playing them, you're having a good time, which is what you do in most of the games.
I mean, that's true, but at this, like, I don't know. A part of me is just, like, I want it to look good. I want to, like, have optimized gameplay. I don't want it to be, like, a game that's, like, it's fun now, and then, like, as soon as I look back on it in, like, 2 days, I'm going to be like, yeah, well, it really wasn't that great.
Here, since we have time and you're hosting and I can do whatever I want because I'm the guest, I'm going to...
Nobody can hear you.
I'm going to jump into... They can hear me. I can jump into VR. Oops. Oh, that's a cup. I'm just going to do the stationary mode, and we can keep going. We're at 32 minutes. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You really, when you're not looking at things, you can really like, let the passage of time just kind of go by.
Yeah.
Because you're not really concerned about it,
Yeah, that's why I just put up something to watch, but...
This is how we get you to host more often. We just give you a distraction. Okay, hold on. Let me look.
So yeah, now he's putting on the VR headset. So.
Oh yeah, I'm putting on the VR headset. If there's anything else I can tell you about the Oculus Quest 2 specifically, one thing that kind of sucks is that the strap sucks like a lot, and that's just because the Oculus Quest 2 is cheaper, and so they made it cheaper. Like, they made the straps cheaper, which isn't a good thing
Really?
It's not a good thing for people who just want to play the games, but as a quick tool for VR, it's all right. You can get used to it. They sell like more expensive upgrades to the padding to get a better fit or whatever. But what are you gonna do? Oh, okay. So,
and that's another thing I wanted to mention. Speaking of like the strap, is as a glasses boy, it is not really that much fun to put on the VR headset. It is pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's pretty uncomfortable. And they do have that separator, but it's not gonna change everything.
It doesn't really change anything, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I just.
Like, I don't know what the fix would be for that, but, like, I feel like they're probably going to fix it in the coming years. But, like, yeah, that's definitely not fun.
Yeah, people that have to wear glasses all the time, that's one thing. I'm sure you can get VR... I think you can get VR headsets now that are prescription. I know. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere, that somebody makes like prescription lenses.
I mean, that's cool and all, but like my lenses are like $300. I can't even imagine how much that would be to install them into a VR headset.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I would definitely have to wait for like VR to be something bigger than it is now in order to make that kind of investment.
Let me run you by some of the some of the games that we got on here. These are the top selling games that I'm looking at through the headset, so I can tell you what they look like in game. So number one, Beat Saber, obviously. I still don't understand why it's the best selling game of all time for VR.
Well,
It's good, but I don't know.
I get it because it's the best, like, it's the most solid game on the system right now. Like, its gameplay is solid, it doesn't feel sluggish, it doesn't feel weird that you're playing it in VR.
But also, you haven't played all the other games. Like, there's a lot of games.
Well, I played the Star Wars one, and I feel like that is a very common...
But yeah, but that's comparing best to worst. Like, there's a lot of middle ground, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, there are other games, but, like, I know Super Hot's a pretty popular game, too.
But Super Hot is not graphically sound, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not graphically sound, but the thing is that, like, it uses the VR to its best extent. Like, it doesn't just like this Star Wars game that I'm looking at right now, I can tell it, like, it uses the VR in a way that only the VR can be used, but at the same time it's like it's not as solid as, like, it feels like you're playing through a story and not like playing a game. Like, well, I'm looking at the puzzles and I'm looking at the gameplay and I'm like, this is just roleplay. This isn't like a game. The puzzles aren't difficult. The action sequences aren't very action packed. Like, it's just things like that.
I think it's hard to compare VR games to one another just because they are very unique to each experience. Like, I think every VR game you find is going to be a little bit different than the next.
I mean, like, true to an extent, but like...
And the Star Wars games in particular aren't necessarily made to be good VR games as much as they're meant to be good, good, I don't know, Disney games to have on a console, period. Like, not necessarily meant as a developer's dream gig to make a game on VR, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I guess, but like, what game is like that? Like, what...
Okay, well, here, let me run them by you. So we have the Population 1, and you can look these up too, like, while we're talking about them. You got Population 1, which is kind of like a Fortnite mix kind of thing. The graphics look pretty good. They look pretty cartoony, you know?
Okay.
Let's see, we got The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. Let me see what this looks like.
Isn't that just like a...
There's a lot of shooter games on here.
No, I was going to say, isn't that like a Telltale game?
No, this is like an action shooter game. This one's pretty standard. I think a lot of the games that are made by big, like, brand companies are not going to be as good. You have Job Simulator, which I mean, that game's always looked pretty good to me. Like, I mean, visually.
But, like, at the same time, Job Simulator is like a meme.
Well, it became a meme, but I still...
Well, I would say it was designed to be one. Like, it's literally a job simulator.
Yeah, I don't know. But the argument of, like, using the VR well and it looking bad, I think Job Simulator kind of, like, faults that. Like, it looks, but like, at the same time, well, and it uses the features well, you know? Yeah, but at the same time, isn't Job Simulator just kind of like a almost like a tech demo of what it can do? Like, I remember watching, like, a few videos on it, but, like, I honestly couldn't tell you what, like, like, what's the objective of the game? You just work. Like, I mean, there's a lot of simulator games like that.
I mean, in my mind, those are barely games.
Well, that's kind of subjective, don't you think?
Well, I mean, to an extent. I mean, in my mind, there's a difference between a simulator and a game.
Well, I mean, Stardew Valley is a simulator of a game, you know?
No, it's a game, because if it was a realistic farming simulator, it would take much longer to do everything, and it wouldn't be fun.
Well, what makes farming... I mean...
Stardew Valley is a game because it has, like, menus and, like, quick time... Like, menus. It's a lot... Well, yeah, it does have menus, but,
there's
like...
a lot of games with menus. A lot of games have menus.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Like, it has gameplay aspects. Doesn't it have, like, crafting and, like, upgrading your farm and making it bigger and, like, that kind of thing? Like, if it was a farming simulator, you would, like, put seeds in the ground and wait for them to grow and then harvest them, and that would be, like... There wouldn't be this, like...
You mean, like...
There wouldn't be, like,
Minecraft?
There wouldn't be a growth aspect, and you and me both know Minecraft is not like that.
Minecraft is like that, though. In a sense, you can do...
No, it's not.
You can do a lot with Minecraft. You can do limitless things with Minecraft,
exactly.
including growing plants and waiting.
But that's not all you can do.
They can... I mean...
Minecraft can do anything. It is the definition of like not a simulator. It's a game. You can survive. You can build whatever you want. You can make up games. You can play like that weird Sky Wars thing. You can like, I mean, there's been people who made like supercomputers on Minecraft. Like, there's a lot you can do with it.
Where were we? So we had let's see, we got the jobs. Okay, so Thrill of the Fight, which is a boxing game, which, admittedly it doesn't look the best, but I think it's more about the experience. I think Thrill of the Fight, like from reviews, has a really good. It's got a really good boxing interface for when you do the fighting. Like it's not like Wii Sports boxing. Like it actually feels like pretty good. 11 table tennis looks really good, and it plays really good with like table tennis physics.
Just table tennis?
Yeah, that's what the game kind of is. Like if you look that up, that looks pretty good too.
Okay.
Let's see. Did you look up the other thing? Population 1?
Yeah, I did. It looks
I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean,
I guess it looks better in the VR headset, and I'm aware of that, but like, I don't know. I looked at the trailer, I've looked at gameplay, and it's just kind of meh.
We've got Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which I don't like, but the Vader Immortals. What's Wander? Wander's kind of like Google Maps. You can like go to different places. You can go with like friends and stuff. I like that aspect. Five Nights at Freddy's is literally just Five Nights at Freddy's,
Yeah, that's a game to me. That one's a game.
And with Five Nights at Freddy's, even if it looks a little worse, like the gameplay is tight, like it's the game that everyone knows as Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, but like I will not grant you that the gameplay is tight, because I think that it was designed for the PC. And it runs really well on like that platform.
No, I think Help Wanted was
But when
VR
you go
game.
to Help Wanted, it's translated into a VR landscape, so it works, but not nearly as well and not nearly as tight.
I don't. It would have to depend on the actual differences of the game. But they did develop Help Wanted as a VR game.
Yeah, it's developed as a VR game, but it's almost like it's a mirror image of the actual game, but the problem is that the actual game is designed in a certain like aspect ratio, and then the VR game is like, it's the same game, but it's a different aspect. There's different dimensions that you have to deal with, and those dimensions didn't translate well with the like core gameplay. I mean, part of Five Nights at Freddy's whole thing is like the gameplay is simple. It has like 4 buttons and that's it.
Well, not anymore. Not
anymore.
Not
but like I'm
titles.
talking like the original ones that were.
But that's not what this game's based off of. This game is well, in the timeline. I think it came after the Spring Traps.
Yeah, but you go back to the first game and the second game and the third game. Like those games have very basic gameplay mechanics.
Right, but it's implementing gameplay mechanics from in those games that came from later games, which isn't the fault of a VR thing. That's the fault of whoever designed it.
It implements the mechanics from the gameplay. It doesn't grab from other things.
Hold on, I want to look at the trailer.
Like it includes like the first like 6 games, and then it has like extra games, and the extra games work well because they're original. But like the original games aren't nearly as tight as they were.
I feel like the big thing with me in VR is just that like with VR, I'm not holding it to any limitations or any what's the word I'm looking for, any like time frame of the PC or its subsequent game consoles. Because obviously
I am games to games. Like if I want to play
but the VR is different. It's not just like, I think with PC gaming in general, I'm talking about everything when I say that, but with PC gaming in general, you hold yourself to a standard because it's always developed in one track from console to console to console to console until you get to PC. Then it's a little weird, but then you know what I'm saying.
It develops, but then like,
but with VR, it kind of just makes a new pathway. Like VR games are designed
they are
in all
new
different
and
ways.
Like that's okay, but like I don't think that like.
And you can't like
I'm saying in aspects like the Five Nights at Freddy's and like the whatever the other game with the Star Wars games is that they use the VR, but it's in a very like it's in a very like
Well, I think
minimalist way. Like I feel like it can do more than what it's been doing.
well that's
And then
why
at
that's
the
why I
same
said about the
time-
branded games. The branded games are not as great because they're not meant as a piece of work for the VR headset. They're just it's just branded garbage, just like everything else. Not to say the games are totally garbage, but
I mean,
they're-
like that's true, but then like
like for instance, so, you know, we already said Super Hot, which is developed for VR.
yeah.
Good, uses good elements. Population 1 is a shooter game, but I think it implements well on aspects of games that you would see on PC, but now you get to be in them. I think there is something to be said about the fact that it's a good idea to play a shooter game where you are in the shooter game, you are actively shooting, you have to reload. I love the fact that you can reload realistically versus just hitting a button to reload.
I mean, it's all fine and good, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, if you could, I don't know how to put this, but like, when you're in VR, like it makes it feel clunkier, and I feel like with time that'll get better, but as of right now, like, I don't know, it feels like some things just need to be optimized. Like,
well, I guess it depends on your definition of clunkiness. Just because, I mean, to be fair, I have had more hours put into this than you have, and I gotta be honest. The Star Wars stuff, based on what you played, which I don't remember how far we got when you were playing. I think we got through the prologue, but there are elements of the Star Wars game, such as like the movement, like the fact that you have a free moving thing, like like you can. It doesn't have to just be choose a destination, click, and then you spawn there. Like that kind of stuff kind of can make it feel wonky-ish. I mean, you can get more motion sick by having free movement, but if you get over that, then you can that helps it out a bit. And there are good moments. It's not like a horrible game.
Yeah, but like my thing is that like yes, you can move around, but at the same time that should be a given. Like that's not revolutionary to move around.
Well, then what is your problem with the VR headset? I mean, not the headset, like the games themselves. Like, what is the issue?
My problem with the games themselves is that they're boring. There's no like, from what I've seen, there's no like, oh, this is genuinely difficult. It's always like, ooh, look, this is in VR. It's cool. Like, there's no challenge to it. The only challenge that comes from the VR is the fact that the VR is on the VR and it's weird and it's clunky and it's new.
Well, I guess that just depends on if your version of having fun with games is always being challenged and always overcoming a challenge.
You know, like I'm not saying that's like the only reason I enjoy a game, but like like when I'm just like literally playing through baby mode, it's not fun. Like it's like playing Mario Kart with the assist. Like it's
well, to be fair, to go back to Star Wars and then go outside of Star Wars, with Star Wars, there are obviously different game modes you could always play at for different difficulties of gameplay.
Yeah.
Against all the enemies, against the terrain that you may have to go against spawn rates for stuff, that kind of thing. And then outside of games, I don't know why I put the straps on. I kind of just like it that way. I hate when the straps dangle. And then outside of like gameplay, outside of Star Wars gameplay, I think the niche for these games, you know, a lot of them are based on the fact that you can jump in really quickly. You can try something out, like you can do a quick boxing game and have fun and like get a workout in if that's what you want. Or you can play. Go ahead and Google A Fisherman's Tale. That's a really good example of VR style.
Is it literally just fishing?
Nope. Look up A Fisherman's Tale. That actually has a storyline and it's a puzzle game. But you know, there are games right now that's what you do. You get in there and you have a good time and you can, you know, just mess around with physics and you just, you know, you have fun in the VR world. You look around and that novelty on a lot of people, including me, isn't lost after a few hours. I like the fact that you put on the headset and you move over to a different place. And for the price point of these games, that's not exactly a horrible thing to experience, you know, because these games aren't $60 games, you know, they're simple games with simpler prices, you know what I'm saying?
Well, like how much? I mean, it's like half price, right? Like you paid like $30, $20 for that Star Wars game.
It's like 25 or something.
Like I don't know, like that's still, like, and even then, isn't all of them like really short?
Well, Tales from Galaxy's Edge. It didn't really say here. It's probably like, oh wait, here's a.
Because I remember hearing somewhere that it's like 4 hours.
I mean, something like that, yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's just insane.
Well, for you, you've logged 150 hours in like games that don't even have a story of 150 hours. You know.
I mean, I guess that's true.
I think a lot of your complaints with this game is that it's not in the realm that you already know of. You know.
Well, I mean, I feel like
you have. I think when you take VR headsets, when you take VR World in general, you have to take it not only with a little grain of salt, like 1 grain of salt, but you have to take it with the assumption that this is a new medium for a lot of different players to play with. Because the whole idea is if you're making games that are indistinguishable from playing them on PC, then you're doing a bad job as a VR developer.
Well, no, that's not like I understand that. I'm just saying that these are my grievances that they will work out eventually. Like, I understand that it is new and that it will still have, like, these problems will most likely be fixed within, like, the next 5 years, probably. But, like, I don't know, if the question was, would you buy a VR headset, I would say no, because it's not what I would want to do. It's not up to my standards.
And your standard is mostly story.
Well, it's, like, my standard is, like, yes, story, but at the same time, like, solid gameplay would also be like super nice. Like,
well, hold on, because solid gameplay
is like,
what is defined as your solid gameplay?
Like, Beat Saber is really solid.
Well, wait,
like, I'm not saying that there is like no games. Like I looked at your Fisherman's Tale and it looks pretty good, but like I don't know. Like, if it was just a question of like,
and also,
would you like to invest like my money into playing these games? I'd be like, well, no, because they're like, one, I'm like fairly certain that they're short because they just can't be that big yet. It's just a problem with the system. And then 2, they are like, a lot of the games are not that great because they're just like using the VR to use the VR. But, like, the few games that are good, I would buy, but, like, at the same time, they're still short. And, you know, I would much rather spend my money and my time playing something else.
About the gameplay, I will say that Oculus Quest 2 by itself, like, a lot of the stuff that you saw was native to Oculus Quest 2. And there's a lot of other games that can only be unlocked by using other Oculus devices or using the link cable.
Yeah.
And we can get into that. That's a whole different topic. Because obviously there are a lot of games much higher brow than this because they come from the PC world. But only the PC power, not necessarily, you know, PC gameplay. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, but even those games, like, they look better, right? That's, like, what I'm getting from that. So, like, they'll be, like...
Well, they look better. They have more capabilities to use memory to save progress or to use graphics to look better and to do a more intense gameplay experience. Obviously, you can input a higher file of gameplay, so you could have a story or more of a story. I mean, there's other gameplay options with a PC.
I guess I don't like I said, it's just not there yet for me.
Hold on. Let me look up best games. Hold on. I found a way to use a computer even though I'm not the host. Best games.
That's cheating, you know.
On VR now. Yeah, 2020, sure.
I hate your keyboard.
Why?
Because, like, the one part of your... Because, like, I press the spacebar with my right hand, and that part of your spacebar doesn't work.
I just got used to it. I press it with my right hand too. I'd never fall into that. Trevor Saves the Universe. Let's see. I'm just gonna go down the list. Trevor Saves the Universe. Star Wars Squadrons. I think that's a great game. Half-Life Alyx. Now that one you can't even argue. Half-Life Alyx has a story. It is probably the best VR game ever made. I mean, it's made by Steam, but you know,
yeah,
it's still a VR game. No Man's Sky. It's good. Let's see what else we got here. Defector, I don't know what that is. Vader Immortal, Space Pirate, Beat Saber, duh. And also, there is the elements of, can I move this? There are the elements of VR that we're forgetting. such as the fact that it's used in a lot of ways to a lot of different people. I mean, you can use it to interact socially with people. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
in a
yeah,
different
like,
form. You can use it. You can use it for productivity. You can run virtual desktop. I mean, it's just a different way of experiencing things. You know.
I mean, that's all fine and good, but the only aspect that I'm looking at right now is the games. Because that is what it would take for me to buy one. Because all of those other things, like, there are online chat rooms on, like, my PC that I could use instead of VR chat. I could use, like, an actual desktop instead of a VR desktop. Like, there are just different ways to do those things. And yeah, they're cool on the VR headset, sure, but, like, at the end of the day, I want my VR to, like, be all of those things, like, well, and not just, like, one of those things well.
Well, if you used a VR headset, are you basically saying that the novelty would wear off at a certain point?
Absolutely.
See, I think that's a weird way of looking at VR, because I feel like that means you would never really like it, because part of enjoying VR is the fact that you're in VR. Like, if you let that wear off on you, then yeah, use a PC, because a PC doesn't have to wear off on you, because that's the only thing there is. With VR, I don't know if it's a majority, you know, but that's why a lot of the games fall into the same price category. A lot of the games don't have like exact gameplay, but you can get reminiscent, you know, with some of them, depending on what you buy. But that's one of the big major things.
That's a weird thing, though, right? Like, that's a weird, like, oh,
I don't think so. I mean, you know,
like that's weird to me that you're like, oh, it is VR, so therefore it's good.
Well, no, because VR is something
like that novelty, like, should wear off, even if it takes a while. But like it I don't think it's a realistic view to be like, oh, like, this game sucks, but it's VR, so it's cool.
Well, no, it's not that.
Like,
if the game sucks, the game sucks, depending on why it sucks. But
like, what you're saying to me is that right now, like, the games at where they're at, I'm like, the games aren't that great right now. But you're like, but the games might not be that great, but the novelty of the VR should be what, like, gets me to buy it.
Well, it depends on the game. Like if a game sucks because the gameplay sucks, like what you're doing in the VR, like, then you're not going to want to play the game. That's one thing. But if the gameplay sucks because there isn't a lot of story, well, to me it's like, to me the story is on you, the player, for some stuff. Now I'm saying you put on the headset and you look around you and you're like, oh shoot, I'm in medieval times. There's a castle right here. Like, in your brain, you're kind of formulating, like, oh shoot, I'm a cool knight. Like, look at all this stuff I do. Like, it's not like someone has to necessarily, like, always be telling the plot to you, especially because with highly dialogue-driven games and such, it would be kind of difficult to do that in VR anyway. Because, like, what are you gonna do? Just stand there while they just talk at you, like, a lot? You know, a lot of VR is the requirement of action, and you want to keep the action pace going, because VR is you doing stuff. And that's what good VR games do, is put you enthralled in the action, you know? So if you're doing a lot of things in VR, and you're enjoying your time in VR, then that's good.
I don't know. To me, that action is limited. Even at the current stage that it's at.
Limited by what?
It's limited by the just knowledge of how to make a VR game. Like, because, like, in the VR games that I've seen, in the very limited experience that I have with them, it's like, you play it, and, like, the novelty of being in VR is, like, a big aspect of, you know, oh wow, I'm in a completely different place, and that aspect is really cool, but to me that shouldn't, like, overshadow the fact that the games are still not where they could be. Like, it doesn't.
Well, I don't know, but I think that it's weird to me that, like, when you put on the VR headset and you only had, like, what, 3 hours total, like, ever wearing it? It's weird to me that you put on the headset and you're in this cool world and you're already thinking of the negativity of the fact that these games aren't up to snuff.
I mean, like
my first 3 hours in the headset, even with you here, like, I put it on and, you know, it was in hindsight that I realized that the Star Wars prologue wasn't that great. But even while doing it, like, there wasn't any negativity. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like,
I mean,
being like in the world.
I mean, when I was playing that prologue, I was like, what am I doing? There's no direction. Where am I, like, what is the...
Well, but why? Like, I don't know. That's...
I mean, because I guess I'm just a critic of video games. Like, I really like my video games to be, like, really good, and I like them to be very solid, and those games are, like, that game specifically was not super solid. But, like...
I just think it's weird that, like... I don't know,
I mean,
like,
I don't think it's weird to put
not
games...
the whole time. Listen, not the whole time, but I do think it's kind of weird that at the very beginning when you put it on, like that aspect didn't leave you for a second of like well, let me enjoy the experience first, and then I can take it off and think back. Like, to me, it's weird that you were just like, you put it on, you look around, like, first of all, 360, you're looking around, you're like, oh, I'm a Star Wars kid, like, I'm in this world, but it sucks. Like, I don't know, that part is what I don't understand. Because to me, even if I saw it was bad, that really didn't even seep really into my mind until after I took it off. I had a couple hours to mull it over, maybe a good night's sleep, and then I woke up and I was like, I mean, like, I'll get back into it because I want to experience it again. I want to experience being in the world, but it wasn't exactly the best yet. You got to see what's up still. But that's
I mean, like, that's just my opinion. I personally, when I play a game, I want it to be like, not a certain way, because I like playing all kinds of games, but like, I like it to be solid and smooth and consistent. And when I played that game, like, yeah, it was cool for like a few minutes when I was just like walking around doing stuff, but as soon as I was like, okay, I want to make progress, I was like, well, this game is not well designed to like actually do stuff. It's designed to be like, oh, you're in this world, not like, how do I interact with the world? Like, interaction with the world, this juncture is a really weird thing, because when you're in the world, you're like, oh, I'm a part of this world. But like, in my mind, I was like, but it still feels like I'm in the world, but like, I want to feel like I have a purpose in this world. Like, with a lot of just almost through my experience through that, I was just really, I don't know, just kind of confused. Like, it took me like 10 minutes or 20 minutes even to get past like a one weird section where you're down in the like not bunker, but like the lower decks, like scanning items. Like, a medial task like that shouldn't take more than like 5 minutes. But like, because of the way the game is set up and because of the way that the VR works, it takes a lot longer to do just menial tasks like that.
Well, doesn't, I mean, what are we at?
We're at like an hour and 1 minute. Like, we could stop whenever.
Okay, but I mean, wouldn't it? Just listening to what you just said, I mean, to me, like, you got stuck, right?
Yeah.
And yes, you can put some fault on the game, but also you did say that it is how the VR functions. Now, VR games are going to be developed from here, taking the good aspects. Now, the gameplay, maybe not how it looked, maybe not how it necessarily, told you what to do in terms of like, this is how you use your jetpack, which I didn't even figure out till a while later. But that's the game. That's that game, not all games. But isn't that just how VR is structured? Like, you aren't used to that VR. Neither was I, to be fair. But like it's just a new process of playing games entirely, which isn't like, it's not the fault of every single person who has made these games, who's made the headset. The fact that like you think it's not up to snuff, because like everyone's trying to make a new thing. As a player, you're trying to have a new experience. Everyone's working on a new platform. It's like no one person can be like this sucks. Like, because compared to what? There is no comparison. Like, PC gaming is, especially on a business front, away from what you're trying to do, especially as a standalone VR headset. You know?
I mean, yes, that is all true, but what I'm saying right now is that as far as games go, they are not where I want them to be. I don't find them as much fun as I would find a regular video game on a TV. So yes, I acknowledge that they are good and a unique experience, but I will wait for that experience to improve and become more optimized and just cleaner overall before I actually invest in a VR headset. like I understand that it is an early stage of development because it's only been around for so long, and I understand that like the VR games you have to take them with a grain of salt because everybody's doing something new. But that being said, I would still rather play like just a random game on my PS4.
I mean, I guess in random game, that's interesting as well, but
Okay, maybe not like a random game, but like you get what I'm saying. Like a just a game that I want to play.
I don't know. I feel as though like VR has the distinction of like kind of never being to a standard because like I think you have to have some kind of leap. You have to have some kind of leap to jump from PC to this, and at some point you have to just go, well, you know what, like it's not that you have to concede to VR as if it's less than, but you definitely have to go, well, I'm gonna go a little bit all in, and I'm gonna try this thing out, and like here we go, here's a game to get me started, you know, I'll just peruse for a bit, see if I can find something else, because even if 5 years down the line there is one game that comes out to meet your standards, which I don't know what those would be for a single game, but if that comes out, I mean, think about PC gaming in 5 years. It still will exist, and in 5 years, it will still be creating games. But I just think that, like, in 5 years, if a game comes out for this that is up to the standards, like, you would still find a way to say, no, still not getting into it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I don't think I would say that.
And I think there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people that would still say no, and that's what gets the VR industry to not move forward. Like, I like the fact that I can buy this console or whatever. You can buy the experience, and besides the fact that it's from Facebook, you can enjoy the fact that you own it, you're a part of a new kind of experience, and you're helping a business grow that hopefully like does make I guess a broader, I wouldn't say better than everything because that can be argued, but a broader range of titles that have different aspects across the board, you know?
I mean, I don't think I would just be like I hope that I don't grow up to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I don't want to play VR games no matter how good they are. But like I just right now when I look at the games and from the very, like I said, very limited experience that I've had with them, it's like I would play this for like 3 hours and then I would put it down for like 2 months. Like I would have the experience and then I would be like, okay, now I guess I will just let that experience sink in for a while.
I guess. Although if they did bring Persona 5 to...
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although Persona 5 would be a very big game to put in VR.
They could do it in segments, I guess. Chunks.
Yeah, they could, but like that would be like 87 parts.
Anyway, I guess that'll wrap up this one. It's a bit of an interesting ending. I don't know if we necessarily came to a conclusion. I'd like to come to some common ground before we head off.
The VR has a future.
Well, I think the VR has a future. I just hope that like you can also take away the fact that VR, number one, is immersive. Is immersive?
Yes, it is.
We can say it's immersive. Number two,
immersive. The only time I wasn't immersed is when it would shift and then I'd get all blurry and I
couldn't see anything. Which, to be fair,
has nothing to do with the headset.
Right. Okay, we'll do 3 each. I'll give you one. I'll give myself one from you. We'll go back and forth, right?
Okay.
So, immersion for you, and I'll say broad range of games for me, right?
Okay. Yeah,
for you...
It can have a decent category. Catalog, not category.
For you, I'll say that you can definitely you can experience as it is now different aspects. Like it's not just one thing across the board. There are different variations of stuff you can do in VR. True?
Yeah.
Rhythm VR, action, different things. Okay, it's 2 for you. Mine is I will say that there are games that were clearly made as a cash grab that, may have some good elements, but that's like all cash grabs. Some good, some bad, a lot of bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2. For you, the last one, I'd say that at its price point and at its technical features, it is a true accomplishment for the system, and
Yeah.
it is a remarkable technical feat. True?
It is true, but I just want to add on to that, because if I don't, it'll just make it look like I was making stuff up for the last hour. That it is true that it is at a very good price, and it is true that it can do a lot. But for me, who really likes playing games, I would not buy it at that
But
price.
I'm talking about the technology.
The technology at the
V-
price that
VR.
it's at is good.
No, but let's take the software gaming out of. Let's take the like, because you could jump into anything. Like you could jump into a 3D Google Map or Google Earth
Yeah.
and look around. Technically, it's. I mean, the tech is good.
Yes.
Okay. Third one for me. The third thing for me, I'd say, is that right now, the appeal for a broad range of people may not be like up to snuff until like a game comes along that draws them in, like in an essence of PC gaming, but obviously not like too overboard, because then it creates an environment that that is just PC gaming, or you wouldn't even want to switch over. Like you have to have a good mix. You know what I'm saying?
I want to have like a PC level game, as in graphics, gameplay, and like overall design, but with the VR aspects that cannot be duplicated in the PC.
Hold on, let's focus on the third thing before we close out. We need a third compromise for me, because I can't compromise on that front, because I would say that if you did like a pie graph, I think the graph you're describing, based on this right now, is like 80%, or I'll be generous, 60% PC aspect, 40% VR. For me, I would say that in the future, I hope it grows to be, just flip the numbers, 60% VR, 40% PC.
Well, see, I don't think that's what I was describing at all, because what I want is for it to be like PC level quality, just across the board. Just be like this game, it looks good, feels good, plays good, it's smooth, that kind of thing that you get from a PC, but with the qualities of a VR headset. So like the controls and the unique the fact that you can have a 360 in a play space, and like the controllers and the motions, like that kind of thing. Like it should be central in the game, but I want those gameplay mechanics to be pushed to the limit of what they can do, and also I want the game itself to be good. I don't want it to just be like a tech demo.
I will say, before we get to my third compromise, can't we say that is what games have already begun to do, such as the No Man's Skies, the Arkham VRs, the Skyrim VR is a very good example of this, but those VR games do what you're asking, mainly because they already are established PC titles, which is not what we want. We would rather...
Exactly, I want an original game.
Which as if the sales go well, if we get more titles bought now, we can move towards that with developers who are born into this VR world, you know?
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, like, you have to give it to VR because you can already do that now. Like, yes, you can do that now. Like, that does exist in today's... What you're asking for does exist. Good PC gaming with VR
yeah, but
quality.
Can you look at me and be like, yes, that Skyrim game runs smooth and that has no issues, no problems with the port?
Well, Skyrim, the PC game, has problems. A lot of problems. But it's still a good game.
But the VR, like, what I'm saying is, like, is the
VR...
the
same problems...
Is the VR smooth? Does it lag? Does it hiccup?
If it lags... Well, I don't know what the menu thing is, but if it lags, the only lagging is because it would already lag on PC. There's no... It's not because it lags because it's now on Oculus. Because they did a quote-unquote perfect, that's what they'd call it, a perfect port to VR. That's why they sell it at a different price point. That's not why they sell it at a different price point, but... You know what I'm saying? They made a copy for VR that is translated to VR in every game, in every way of the game. You can play through the entire game in VR. Now, if there are problems, it's because they didn't take them out of the PC copy. Because the only difference is, especially because it was designed before the Oculus Quest 2, the only difference is you have a cable that's running to a VR headset. Now, these cables, especially if you got them from Oculus, were designed with high optic what are they called? Like high optic fibers that translate the game smoothly from a good PC to your headset. So if there's a problem, it's not the VR headset's fault. So that game is what you are asking for the VR headset. Maybe not this one, because this one's a little different.
Here's my question, though. Like, so you play it with a mouse and keyboard. Then how does that translate gameplay-wise to your base, I don't know, like the controllers? Like, does that translate well? Does it feel awkward? Does it feel weird? Like, those kinds of things. Well, does it feel like a port?
Okay, so if we're taking Skyrim for an example, because that's what we already said. So Skyrim, the menu aspect is really just to select what spell you'd want. You'd select what spell you want, right? And you have obviously a list of what you have on you as your inventory.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, everything else in the game is really just like attacking, which, I mean, swing a sword, put it away. Spells, you can do that easily because there are already games for that on Oculus. And really that's it. So I guess your biggest gripe would be this almighty menu thing that you're talking about.
I mean, you say it like you don't have to menu it all the time.
Well, yes, but I don't understand because the menu in what was it, the Star Wars game? I don't see what your gripe with that.
I want
menu
it to be seamless.
Like, what do you mean by seamless?
Just pull it out instantly. Like with that game, it's a problem because when you go to get any kind of item, you have to do this action that is, well, one, inconsistent, and two, slow. If you need something quickly, you're not going to be able to get it in time.
I didn't have that experience. When I played the game, after a while of playing it and just knowing, for instance, your character in the game has 2 guns on his hips. You have different utilities on your chest. In the very middle is the pouch with your inventory, and it is very once you do it after I don't know, an hour or whatever, hour and a half of playing the game, it becomes very easy to very quickly reach down, quick grab your guns, pull them up. There's no delay. Or with the pouch, I didn't find it that hard to really quickly grab it, unequip it so it's in your hand. You press the button to open the menu, and then from that point you can just grab whatever you want and throw it. Especially with the droids, because that's what you do. And then that's seamless because you don't have to put it back. You would just unhook the button that's your grip button, and it automatically goes back to you. So that one is not a bad problem.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, my experience, it didn't work half the time when I was hitting it, and it didn't
Well, couldn't that just been function. Your gameplay of it?
I mean, it's possible, but I'm basing all of this off of what I've done, what I've researched, and what I've experienced.
I know, but we were talking about the menus, and that menu,
I didn't like it.
Worked and didn't work depending on the gameplay, depending on who played it. But then translating that over to saying that all menu, or the menu needs to be amazing. It
doesn't need to be amazing. It needs to be at least clean. I don't want to when you're on a PC, you can open up your menu and scroll down and find what you need and get it. But how do you do that on a VR? You just
well, you have a C-stick.
Yeah, you find it on your person, or you press a button and you do it that way. But if you press a button and do it, it's the exact same. And
saying it's the exact same is different. Saying it's the exact same is not exactly right.
Then it has that problem that you talk about, which is it's too similar to PC games.
Well, but just on the point of it being seamless, and you saying that this is what PC can do, and that it's the exact same. It's not exactly the exact same because, depending on the game, you click a button, you open your inventory, but there's also everything else still happening around you. There's still all these other elements going on. And a lot of times when you open an inventory in a PC game, Skyrim is an example of this. It stops your game. It stops your gameplay. You can no longer see the world. You're no longer fighting or whatever. You're just in the inventory, Yeah. And Star Wars wasn't like that. I mean, you could open it, and it may have paused the game, but it's very quickly for you to grab a tool or whatever, to use the tool, or. So in that aspect, the menu wasn't horrible in my case. Maybe I don't know. You just get used to doing what you need to do. You remember quickly what you need to do.
And then I don't know. There's just a certain part of me that keeps thinking about this port of Skyrim, and I just keep thinking to myself, like, would you, like, let's say you play it on VR, but like, would you want to continue playing it on VR? Is it good enough to be like, yes, I will, like, I would rather play this version of the game over the original version of the game? Like, see, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, it has to be like, I would rather play this than that.
Well, I think that's a different argument than what you had originally.
No, because my original argument is that I want a game to be like a clean PC game with like the kind of like graphics
but whether or not you choose to play Skyrim.
Well, I think it does, because then there's an alternative.
But there's always going to be an alternative. But hold on.
Well, no,
hold on.
There's not, because there's no alternative to Beat Saber on like a PC. That's not a thing. It uses the.
But there are other rhythm games that are very much in the same vein of Beat Saber.
They're not, though, because they use because it's pressing a button versus like doing a motion. What I like, because with the Skyrim, like I don't know, like the motion isn't used to its fullest potential. It's not like, oh, I need to like, you know, swing a certain way in order to get a best bonus. Like,
well,
none of that.
I can't argue that because I don't know it. I can't argue that point because I don't know.
Well, if it is a port, there's no way that they would add that.
What do you mean? The way they'd add like hit structures for enemies with a sword, like hit it down here, that kind of stuff. Like VR elements of that. But here's what I will say: of the subjective nature of Skyrim as the example, I think that I think that someone who likes VR and has the nature to want to play the VR game would choose to play the entire Skyrim game on VR versus playing it on PC. That being said, I can understand that Beat Saber specifically does a unique job of, I don't know, what the Wiimote did 8 years ago, which, you know.
I mean, well, that's not entirely what it does, though, because it uses the VR mechanics to the best of their ability. Like, you can use the 360 view, you can use the motion controls, you can do it all. And that's, like, a really important aspect.
You can't do everything on VR with Beat Saber. You can't move, you can't, you know.
I mean, you have 360, you can't
But
move.
you can't physically move. You can't, you know. You can turn. That's why you can play it. Well, I don't know if you can play it in stationary.
I mean, you shouldn't, but
you're not. The only moving you're doing is like the crouching or whatever.
So I want the like that kind of like it incorporates the controls well, plus an aspect of like it uses like the actual VR well. Because like with the Skyrim, like it uses motion controls kind of, but like it's really just a glorified button. You're swinging the axe and you can like be like, oh yeah, I'm doing it, but like at the same time it's like you're swinging it but only not in a like unique way.
Well, I would have to look more at the port to determine how they did it, but if you can unique way, that's a bit of a different. I don't know, unique ways to be determined, because like if it's a two-handed axe, right? And the game designs it like your Skyrim character has to hold it two-handed or whatever, then I assume that if you're playing in VR, right, the axe, once you equip it, that's the only one you can have, because you can't have two weapons for the axe normally. But then when you pick it up, like you would, I assume, I don't know this, but I assume you'd actually pick it up off your back, right? And you would, because that's how it is on your body normally, and then you would hold it with your two hands, like Skyrim, whatever. And first of all, that's a VR thing, because you would physically have to be holding it and keep your hands the right way. But also,
I don't think you would have to be that specific. Like, I just don't, like, I can't imagine they would be like, you have to use both hands. I feel like they'd be like, you use one, but like the other one doesn't have a purpose.
Well, I don't know, because VR games do that now. Maybe not Skyrim because it was older, but now they do that. But anyway, yeah, you'd hold the two things, and then what makes it individual as the person playing is that obviously you can do different strikes, like you can, you know, attack in different ways per person.
The same.
What do you mean they're all the same?
They all do the same thing. You can put your own unique spin on it, but like there's no like blocking mechanic. There's no like finding a different kind of ground. There's no, I don't know. There's just like I said, there's a lot that I want out of a VR game.
I don't know. I think like maybe for the next episode, like come with your points, like all laid out. Like tell me your game, because I got to be honest. I think that like you're designing a game that's so specific to exactly what you want versus the broad range of the category. Like, because I'm not thinking about games that I want out of VR because I want to play what the other people have made and experience different things and just take what I will out of the games.
I mean, that's all fine and good, but like I don't know. I just want something like I don't know. I really. It's a lot to ask for, and I understand that, and that's why I'm not, like, bashing it, being like, oh, like, it's just a bad, terrible, awful thing. Like, I understand it's still early. It's still, it's still in development of this kind of game, and the kind of game that I want might not even come along for a while, but I don't know. That is just my thinking on the whole process.
All right. Well, I guess I have my takeaway and you have yours, and I still need a third compromise because you have your 3 and I have 2 of them, and I guess my compromise is like in agreement to what you're saying, which is that a VR game. I guess my compromise would be that there are people that will be diehard on the VR headset until they get like the thing that they want out of it, which can't be quantified in time. So we don't know when the VR would be up to snuff to a specific person. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like we don't know when the VR headset will be worthwhile for one individual because it would all be subjective. Every form of media is subjective. So who knows when the VR, as it is new now, is going to be worth it to anybody, Because everybody's going to have their own take on what they consider to be highbrow gaming, for what they want. So in that sense, I do agree that the VR headset may not live up to people's expectations now, and we just don't know when that would be for people.
I suppose.
But that is what you're saying, is it not?
I'm saying that
what you're saying right now, as it is right now, is not what you want. Is that not right?
Yeah, as the way the VR headset is right now, it doesn't have any game on it that I would be like, yeah, I would play this for, like, indefinitely. I would play this anytime, anywhere. I'd play this over some of the other games that I have. Like, I want it to be an experience that I won't just, like, take up for, like, 3 hours and then put down and never play again. Because where it stands right now, that's what would happen if I bought one.
Right. Now, a lot of eyes in that statement, which was part of my compromise, was that I was saying that it is individual in the sense that when a person will probably get a VR headset, because that's the way it would trend, but somebody will probably get the VR headset when it is up to their standards. I mean, is that not right for anything that we're talking about? When it's up to the standards of the person that would want it, they would get it,
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my compromise, that's what I'm saying, is that just like your case, if it's not up to snuff and, you would want something else out of it that hasn't been done yet, then, yeah, I agree. And I agree that everybody's going to be like that, There's going to be a group of people who won't get it because it's not ready yet for them. True?
True.
All right. So this has been a weird episode of TheWordPool.
Yeah, it definitely ran a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I have homework that's due at midnight that will be almost a day late. Here, you're the host. Go ahead and close it out. Be fair, be kind. And you got to remember that this isn't like we're arguing. This show is a debate,
Yeah, I mean,
we debated the controllers, and we both walked away, with our own points. But we did come up with some compromises for that as well.
I don't remember them, if I'm being perfectly honest. I do remember we came up with compromises, but I don't remember what they were.
I mean, I
think
remember.
I think it was. I think it was something like. No, I actually don't remember at all.
I just
because I remember my point was like I don't think they put that much thought into it.
We were talking about the design of the Xbox controller.
We can't get back into that though. We only have like a minute before this runs at an hour and a half.
Yeah, we were talking about the design of the Xbox controller, but we have come with compromises. So I'll say close the show. We're not mad at each other or whatever. So just do the thing. And I will say one more thing that like it's all good and
it's all in good taste.
VR, I think we can both agree that VR is cool.
Yes, it is very cool.
Go ahead, close the episode.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching today's episode of The WordPool. If you'd like to support us, subscribe and maybe even hit that like button. Or ring the bell if you're a super fan. We've had a lot of fun debating on this show, and we'd love for you to join us in the comments. Anyway, that's all from us. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. I will see you, and we will see you next time.